Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. Now zooming in here, so we have these two legs down here. Notice how we have these two legs here. On a bigger picture, that's one leg here. I started trading around 8 a.m., which is this area right here. So first entry long, second entry long, failure. That's a big picture reversal pattern. Holding for the third time off this trend line right here. So that's the key entry point confirmation right there, third bounce. So holding for the third time off the key entry point, managed to close below the EMA. Now we have this STT right here, but it did overshoot, and given the context of it, this failed second entry, got that measured move in play, third bounce, close below the EMA. That does override this small STT right here with that overshoot right there. So I do like this trade right here. So then we go into this downtrend here. It's clearly we're in this downtrend right here. It confirmed right here, and then we get this two-legged break here. So I do want to talk about my target really quick. At first, I had it at 1 to 2, so I had a 1 to 2 target, but then we started going sideways. We bounced here, and then we bounced here again, and then at this point, when we had this second leg up, I just raised my target to a 1.5 R instead. So I guess lowered my target. So I just got out of there because it ended up forming this resistance right here, and I didn't want to risk price having to go through that. So I ended up leaving it here. So anyway, downtrend. Two-legged break, we push to a new low. There's really no way to get in here because it's just too big of a bar. So if you draw this, even if you're just doing it for 1-to-1, you'd have to push it pretty far out of the range right here. It's clearly at least a few points or a couple points, I mean. So you don't want to enter that. There's just, if you could have gotten in with a limit order after it triggered, like say it ticked lower here, you can get filled up here, get out before these lows, and that would be good. But that just never happens here. So unfortunately, you can't get in on this. So anyway, downtrend, two-legged break, we push to a new low. Now notice how, which I'm going to copy this back over up here. So I'm going to remove a couple things just to declutter some stuff. There's a bunch of overlapping channels here. So these two legs end up forming here after we start pushing lower here. We can clearly see that we have these two legs here. Now, which you could have it from here, actually. But I do often move it down to where the leg actually starts. So here, this is where it technically should be because you have this, push lower here, break, and then the second leg from there. It just kind of stalls a bit from there. So this measured move is reached at this point. As soon as we reach that measured move, we immediately reverse higher here. Now, I wasn't a big fan of going short here because we did just reach this measured move and then rushed above the EMA very strongly. We started closing out of this channel here, and then we rejected the EMA. It's not the best looking short right here, especially after reaching that measured move there. Now, once again, price action levels get bigger as more time goes on. So even these two legs here become one leg on a bigger picture here. So I'm going to move these aside. So now we have this push lower. Then we have these couple legs up. We start going into this possible uptrend here. And this is where I got a loss right here because I viewed it as these two legs up and then closing back into this, resistance right here, this uptrend right here. And then I wanted to write it down to the lows here of this channel. This isn't good. This first leg is still within this downtrend right here. It is two legs up, but clearly it was not finding any kind of resistance off of this channel high right here. Even though we closed back below, it was going sideways. It's overall not looking good. EMA was straight up at that point. It's just a mistake I made there. It's not a good looking trade. But then we have these two pushes down here, and then we actually hold off of this trend line here. Now, we did overshoot this channel here, so I did want a little bit more confirmation. Even though this STT had an overshoot, I still wanted it to close out because of this channel here having a overshoot as well. So I ended up waiting for a bar to close out, and then that's when I wanted to enter. And I just wanted to get out before the channel highs here. It went all the way up to those channel highs, but I wanted to keep it a little bit in, so I ended up just doing 1.5 again. So I probably could have pushed it to 1.6. I mean, I definitely could have, but I usually just do, whenever I'm doing stuff that isn't 1 to 2, I always keep it either 1.5, 1.25, or 1.75. So I couldn't have done 1.75 on that. So I just did 1.5. So we pushed higher here, basically reached my target. As soon as it reached that, made that triple top there, that's when it plummeted back down. So third bounce off that key entry point, 2 legs back. It wasn't really a range fade because this low wasn't confirmed at that point. Clearly we were going sideways. We were in this kind of range right here. So it basically was a fade, but it wasn't confirmed off the lows. But it's not really mainly about it being a fade right there. It's about the trend right here. So we plummet lower here. Once we have this leg down here, it's pretty clear to see that we have these 2 bigger legs here. And we push lower, and we get this 2-legged correction here. And I missed out on this. I wasn't in the room at the time, but clearly you can see those 2 legs up. We have this larger measured move in play. We haven't quite reached the overnight low. If these had reached the overnight low, then we can expect a possible reversal here, but we actually haven't reached the overnight low yet. But since this is just a double top, that's not a real reason to take a trade. I wanted to wait for this to, or I guess I would have wanted to wait for it to close below the EMA. Because I didn't take this. I wasn't seeing it in real time here. But close below the EMA, could have gotten in with a limit order, I think by 1 tick at that point right there. Yeah, so get out at those lows right there because you don't want to push it through the lows because that is a double bottom. We have been going sideways. Once it pushed lower here and you have 2 off the highs, 2 off the lows, that's basically a confirmed range right there. So you would want to get out before those lows just in case. We push lower here, we reach that measured move, or at least we come within a couple ticks of it and then very sharply reverse. Here, it's nearly a reversal pattern. You can kind of see first entry short, second entry short failure. It's really just 1 leg up here and then a break, and then it gets really choppy and there's no clear entry. It's right into the overnight lows. No way to really enter that. We push higher here, so we have this first leg up, break, second leg up, and then we start going into this congestion right here that just gets really choppy. We break out, we push higher, we reach the high of that range, which at first it's more like this. There's no way to enter on that. There's no room. But we push up here. We start getting congestive. And here we have this double bottom right here. It's really just a sharp push down. It's not off of anything very clear. I mean, because this channel isn't there at the time. And then here you actually close back above the EMA, and then there's no room at that point there. But really, it's just a sharp push down below the EMA. You don't want to enter on that. Uptrend, break, has a new high already. Sharp push below the EMA. That's not a very good looking entry there. But then here, after we started pushing up higher here, I did look at this channel here. We have this low, push off that low right there, drag it to the highs. We ended up confirming it here. I wasn't trading at that time right there. It does have STT on it, but, it is a first entry short, second entry short failure. STT, let me see if it overshoots. It doesn't really overshoot, but once it closes above the EMA there, to me that looks pretty good. So even if you have the range all the way extended up here, that does look pretty good. It's basically a breakout pullback of this range right here. Even though it barely closed back in, we're clearly going higher here. 1, 2, 3, third bounce, pushing higher here. First entry short, second entry short, failure. Let me draw what that would look like on the risk to reward. I don't know why it's set to 2. I usually have it set to 1R. I like that right there. You just need to get out before these highs for sure. So even if you got in a little bit higher than that. So yeah, that trade does look good to me. Failed second entry with this uptrend here. We just reversed out these overnight lows. We broke out the lows, strongly pushed back in here. And then at that point, you're playing the range rules, which, you have the overnight range right here. And so you can expect prices to at least attempt to reach up here. So that's definitely a good looking entry for, right after this reversal here. Now we have this first entry long, second entry long. It looks like it made a double top right there to the tick. First entry long, second entry long, push below that trend line right there. So you don't want to enter on this right here. But and also this right here, that's just, as soon as we overshot the range right there, because just like in a the uptrend here, we overshot it and then only have 1 attempt lower before you get that entry. Kind of like in a range, when you come off one side, you're expected to reach the other side. So you really do need 2 attempts to reach the other side before you can enter with it again. So we would need 2 legs back before entering long. So this 1 leg here is not enough. But then here we actually have 2 legs back. Even though it's a double top, it does look like you can count it as 2 legs back. you know, sometimes depending on the context, you would want to do a count reset right there, but that really is 2 legs back. It didn't, you know, it did push straight through the key entry point though, so that's not good. You don't want to enter on that. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped in some way, and I'll see y'all next time.